That is recurrent swelling and effusion after knee replacement.
Thank you. Good morning, friends. So the prevalence of recurrent effusion is close to 15% in the literature. Once it's diagnosed to be of infective origin, then we call it as PGI. If the aspiration is bloody, then the diagnostic and therapeutic approach will change. So the causes for this recurrent effusion can broadly be classified into systemic and local causes. Systemic could be inflammatory or crystalline in origin. Local is related to the infection in the joint or implant related. Now this was a 64 years old male who presented 9 months after the index surgery with recurrent effusion. On evaluation, he was found to have raised uric acid and his symptoms subsided once the crystalline arthropathy was treated. If it's the other crystalline arthropathy, we see the pseudogout, which can be identified with the birefringent crystals. When it's a recurrent effusion, the first thing we wish to rule out is invariably infection. Now, this was a two-stage revision done for a proven case of infection. At second sitting, we went down, removed the spacer after 3 months, and this was revised with 1 level higher constraint of constraint condylar type. And that's the infection-free period of close to a year. So when it comes to diagnosing PGI, the international consensus meeting guidelines are very well accepted, and based on that, one can diagnose it. A word about the DIA procedure. That's debridement, antibiotics, and implant retention. This is indicated for early post-operative cases who present within 4 weeks, or acute hematogenous infection where they present within 3 weeks of symptoms. And here the results are good. The latest meeting held in Turkey this year has recommended that minimum 12 weeks of antibiotic is required if one has done a DIA procedure for an acute PGI. The coming issue of the Journal of Arthroplasty has number of articles lined up on the DIA procedure, and the commonest organism isolated is Staphylococcus aureus. What if it's a culture negative PGI? That's a nightmare. Then we take into consideration the patient profile and the institutional antibiogram. The minimum period for which antibiotic should be withheld is 2 weeks, and then one should aspirate. If you have gone down, try to get at least 3 samples from different sites. The incubation period should be minimum 5 days, and in exceptional situation, one can even keep it for 14 days. Synovial fluid sample should be sent as early to the lab as possible. If that's not possible, then probably it should be preserved in the blood culture bottles. Try to avoid swabs. Microbiologists, they hate swabs. And nowadays we have also ultrasonic sonication techniques where isolating the organism from the biofilms becomes easier. A word about a fungal PGI. 1% of the PGIs are fungal in origin. 2-stage is the norm. If you have a drug sensitivity report, follow it, or else empirically amphotericin and voriconazole are the drugs of choice. One has to give 6 weeks of IV antifungal, wait for 3 months, then give aspirate, and once you have done a final surgery, you should give antifungal for 6 months. What is important is to consider the systemic side effects of antifungal. Very difficult to give it for such a long period. Coming to the local implant related issues, aseptic loosening, polywear, implant instability, or metal hypersensitivity can cause it. This was a patient who presented 6 years after the index surgery, a case of aseptic loosening on the tibial side, and that was revised with 1 level higher constraint. Polywear in this case, this presented almost about 7 years, and you can see that along with the polywear there is a lot of metallosis. Had to remove all the dirty part. The collaterals were attenuated, and so I had to go with a rotating hinge. About the implant instability, this was a patient who presented after 2 years with a broken hinge. Probably the sagittal imbalance of the tibial component was the culprit. So I had to go down and remove this broken hinge and also correct the sagittal alignment of the tibia. A word about metal hypersensitivity. This is a type 4 reaction. One can use a patch test, but the results have to be taken with a pinch of salt. What nickel is the commonest culprit when it comes to hypersensitivity. One can do a genetic test for this. And if they are found to be positive and the patient still has symptoms, it's invariably a diagnosis by exclusion. One should give a corticosteroid or immunosuppressant and revise it with a nickel-free implant. That was a paper from Leo Whiteside, where he has shown good results for revision done in this case. We have seen this PGI part. Coming to the final part, so if it's a bloody tap, then one can consider doing an angiography and do a embolization for this patient. So for pigmented villonodular synovitis, one can consider radioactive synovectomy or use the modern drugs. So the take-home message is always rule out infection first. Aspiration is the key. When it comes to bloody versus a clear fluid, it's all about ruling out inflammatory cause versus some cause for the bleeding. And when it comes to PGI, try to improve your culture yields and follow the latest guidelines of international consensus meeting.